Speaking about today.
Tips on going 100% whole food plant-based.
John's going to speak to us about tips on going 100% whole food plant-based. Thanks so much for being here and take it away.
Thank you. Thanks, Kate. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. My name's John Corley. I run a business called Plant-Based Life, and we have food coaches and nutritionists who help people implement a 100% whole food plant-based diet. And I also teach Pilates. I run another business as well doing that. I just did the Pilates class here at the market, which I do every month, so if anybody's interested in that. But in regards to nutrition, as well as doing Pilates and this, I'm also a food coach, so I help people with coaching on food. Now, I've been eating a vegan diet for 5 years, and I would say 100% whole food plant-based, for about 4 years. When I first went vegan, like everyone, I just went with the information that was available. I wasn't fully aware of all the information that's out there in regards to nutrition, what we should eat, what the best way to eat is. And in all honesty, one thing I've learned is, there's no best way as such. We don't want to strive for perfection, right? What I've learned is it's very simple what we should eat. It's basically, 100% whole food plant-based diet. You want to get a lot of fruits, vegetables, a wide array of vegetables. Dark leafy greens are our staple. Now, when you transition to this way of eating, especially, at first, it's hard to take all that on board sometimes. It depends what path you've taken into it. I find if you're a person who's come into it slowly, like you may have been vegetarian already for a long time, and then you decide to go vegan, going the plant-based route might not be as hard for you because you probably were getting a lot of those foods in your diet already. Some people who are eating, the standard Australian diet are already getting a lot of those foods, but they're getting a lot of the other foods as well, like the animal products and everything else. So what we want to do is help people just make those steps and give you simple ideas of what you can do. So I don't know how many people here actually are already vegan or eating a plant-based diet. Alright, cool, so we've got quite a few, okay. And everyone else is curious, looking to learn more about this way of eating, would that be the case? Yep. Okay, alright, good. Okay, so look, the one thing I found to be really good at the start of my journey was I did a short juice fast. I only did it for about 10 days, but the benefit of a juice fast is that it resets your microbiome. Now, a lot of the time that we want to eat, a lot of the foods we've got used to eating, like everything that's processed with, all the added sugars and everything else, it's because our gut craves it. So when we do a juice fast, we actually reset our microbiome. And what you find at the end of a juice fast, it's all organic juices, if you can get organic. If not, you do the best you can get. But if you can get organic, it's better. But you're doing mainly vegetable juice, a lot of dark leafy greens. You mix it with some fruit so it tastes nice. But you don't want to do, you want to do about 80% vegetables, about 20% fruit. Because when you juice fruit, it increases the sugar content. The sugar in fruit itself as a whole food is actually low glycemic. It's not dangerous to us in any way, unless you've got certain health conditions. But generally, it's not, that it's very good for us. It's a fuel for the body. But when you juice it, you don't want to drink a large abundance of fruit juice because you will get a lot of sugar. It's a bit of a insulin spike. But generally, you'd have to drink a lot. But once you get to the end of that juice fast, you actually start, your gut biome starts craving vegetables, fruits. You actually start realising that they're the foods you want to eat. And the tips I would say when you first start is if you can do a juice fast, a really good way to go. If you find that a bit hard, a bit extreme, then just take small steps. Like one thing I've done with my clients over the years, when personal training and coaching people, is I've got like a list of smoothies and really simple recipes. I know everybody's living a really fast-paced life, right? But we need to get those dark leafy greens in because they're just antioxidant rich. You've got your iron, you've got all your minerals. Dark leafy greens are the staple of this diet. And I just get everyone having a green smoothie first thing in the morning. So a very simple recipe, if you're looking for a recipe for a green smoothie, really simple one, is get some coconut water, get a large bunch of spinach, kale, Put it in there with a banana or two, and or mango if it's in season. Always go with what's in season. And then you can put in some flaxseed as well. The flaxseed, basic ground flaxseed, is really good for your healthy omega fats, and also for some protein in there as well. But you'll get protein from the greens anyway. And there's a little bit of protein in bananas as well, believe it or not. People don't realise that. It's a carb generally, but it's got some protein in there. And then that smoothie in the morning is a really good way to start the day. And that's how I get a lot of people who aren't eating this 100% diet. They just start with that small step, because the biggest problem that I see out there is people strive for perfection. They look online, they see some expert who says, right, you need to eat this, you need to eat that, and they think, well, I've got to do exactly what they're doing. I've got to start tomorrow and make these massive changes. For some people, a sudden change like that is what they need, right? But not for everybody, right? So, some people, they get to a point in their life where they have a health condition or something, has affected them, and they thought, right, I've got to make a big healthy change here. A prime example of that is someone, I don't know if you've heard of a guy called Rich Roll, but he's an Ultraman athlete. He's become a health and wellness advocate. And he was a person on the eve of his 40th birthday. He was walking up the stairs at home, couldn't walk up the stairs, out of breath. Basically, just couldn't make it up the stairs. He realised, he was married with kids. He'd had a history when he was younger of not a very healthy lifestyle. He was alcoholic, he'd been through rehab, and then he got into binge eating, and basically got himself in a bad, healthy way. But to cut a long story short, he knew he had to do something. He went vegetarian. Vegetarian didn't quite work for him, so his wife led him down the path of a 100% whole food plant-based diet. After eating this way for a while, he found he had all this energy. And the reason you have energy when you eat a plant-based diet is because it's less acidic on the body, and your digestion doesn't have to work as hard to digest all the food, so you get more energy in your body. So he found all this energy. He started going for runs. He'd go for these little runs outside his house, and then they started getting longer. And one day, without him actually realising, he ran over 20 k's away from his house and realised, I've got to get home, right? So he just got lost in what he was doing. And this grew, the interest in doing ultramarathons. He got into ultramarathons, marathons, and basically at the eve of his 40th birthday, he was in that position where he couldn't get up the stairs. By the time he was 43, he had already broken a world record where he'd done 5 Ironmans in 5 days in Hawaii, and he went into the World Championships and he came 9th, right? And he became voted, he was 43 years old, and he was voted in the top 25 fittest men in the world in men's fitness, right? And now he's a plant-based health and wellness advocate. He's got a podcast and all that, but his story, that's one of many stories. So that's a person who's literally got to a point where I've got to make a change, and they made a change. There's other people who do it a slower, more gradual process. There's different ways to do it. I find for the vast majority of people, doing it slow, gradually, and slowly cutting out the foods that you're eating is the best way to do it. So, and the difference between a standard vegan diet and a 100% whole food diet is that you're basically cutting out all the processed foods, you're cutting out all the additives. You want to get your food as close to nature as possible. So, fruits and, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, basically everything as nature intended it. You want to be having, especially in abundance, the dark leafy greens I mentioned is the staple. And that's the difference. You try and stay away from anything that's heavily processed. And then there's the next stage, you can go raw with a diet. Again, look, I eat a raw diet, but I don't come out and tell people to do that, because, like I say, it's about small steps. It's about getting to what feels good for you. A raw diet straight away isn't the best thing for everybody, because our microbiome might not be in a position to be able to digest the foods, absorb the nutrients from the foods correctly. So you may need to go high raw, where you have some raw foods and mix it with fermented food. Fermented foods are excellent for your gut microbiome. And then if you wanted a really good sort of protein product, that you could add with your meals as you're doing that transition period, tempeh, fermented tempeh is a great option. There's all these different options. And again, as I said, don't strive for perfection. Just try and get as many plants on your plate every time you eat. You know, so you really want to get every meal. You want to have some dark leafy greens. You want to get an abundant array of different vegetables. You know, like have a rainbow salad every day. That's what I tell everybody, right? So if you started your day every day with a green smoothie and then later in the day had a big rainbow salad, you'd be doing a lot of good for yourself, you know, and then having your fruits around that would be a really good way to go. And as I mentioned, juicing is good as well. But do it all in small steps, and we can help you with that, you know. So if anyone's got any questions in regards to that, I can chat to you afterwards, you know. So one of the other key things that people get concerned about when they try and transition to a 100% whole food plant-based diet is, will I get all the nutrients I need? Will I get everything I need for my body, you know, to function, you know? And look, if you can eat that wide array of fruits and vegetables, get a certain amount of nuts and seeds. You don't want to overdo nuts and seeds. Nuts and seeds are good for healthy fats, they're good for protein, they're good for a lot of different nutrients, but you can overdo them like anything. You know, if you eat too many nuts and seeds, it's not going to be that good, and you know, you need to have a balance of them, you know. So but they are very highly nutritious foods. Same with avocados, for instance. Avocado is an extremely highly nutritious food, right? But if you're trying to, you know, watch your waistline, you don't want to be eating too many avocados, because even healthy fats will put weight on, right? But avocados are very healthy. They're just a powerhouse of nutrients, right? You know, so there's a few very simple tips really on what I would suggest on ways you can get there. I'd start with the green smoothies in the morning, make some simple changes throughout the day, and then slowly start eliminating the foods that you have found, you know, may not sit well with you. And you'll also find, as you do this, some foods, everyone's, as I mentioned earlier, gut microbiome is different. So some foods you'll find you'll digest better than others, right? So that's another thing as well, you know, everyone's unique. So there's no one size fits all when it comes to diet, right? So, but as long as you're getting that broad spectrum, that array of different, you know, fruits, vegetables, getting your nuts, seeds, getting everything as nature intended, you should cover all your nutrients. The only nutrient that obviously we need to supplement is B12, right? So, and you can get like a sublingual spray, or you can get a little tablet that you take. We take a little sublingual tablet that goes under your tongue, and you take that every day. You don't have to take it every day actually. You can take it every third day if you want to. When you first give up animal products, basically there's an amount, you should have enough B12 in your system if it was of adequate levels already to be there for 5 years basically before you'll notice a subsequent drop. But there's people out there eating animal products who are B12 deficient. You know, it's not, see, this is the thing, see, B12 is actually, it's a bacteria, alright? So people talk about it as a vitamin, but it's a bacteria. And back before the dawn of the agricultural revolution, when we started, you know, doing what we are doing to the food chain, you would get B12 on the soil, right? The soil around plants that were grown, right? So in the old days, that's where people used to get B12. Now B12 is created within an animal's gut, and that's the reason why, you know, a lot of the B12 sources, there are other sources of vitamin B12. There's vitamin B12 in spirulina, but there's been scientific studies to say it's not a complete form of B12 like the one that we need to sustain. So, and there are a few others, there's a little bit in mushrooms as well and a few other sources, but generally we need to supplement. But that's the only thing we should need to supplement, right? So you may say, look, when you first eat like this, you may find if you do it incorrectly or you don't absorb some of the foods correctly, you may end up low in iron, you may end up low in vitamin D if you're not getting out in the sun enough, you know, but these can all be fixed, right? So the only thing we should need to supplement is B12, and the most common reason why people don't get all their nutrients is because they don't absorb the foods correctly. And when you get your foods back to nature, where they're naturally intended with their natural enzymes, and get as much of them as raw as you can, you don't have to go 100% raw, but get as many raw foods in your diet as you can. They're higher in enzymes. Some raw foods are harder to digest though. Like if you have cruciferous vegetables, for instance, they're very hard to eat raw, you know, and digest raw. Not everybody's got the microbiome to digest them. So it's different for different foods, but generally you want to get enzyme-rich food that you can digest, and that's how you get your nutrients. You know, so most of the time we're not getting nutrients from food because of the process that it's been put through. You know, and that's the reason why. And also, you know, we've compromised our gut immunity and we're not absorbing the nutrients. So they're the number one reasons. So, but they're my main tips. So I go back just quickly, just to go over it. If you can start by doing a short little juice fast at the beginning, that would be good to reset your microbiome. If you're too busy and, you know, lifestyle is hectic and schedule is hectic, then start with the small changes. Start with a green smoothie in the morning, add an occasional salad, have a bit more fruit and veg, and slowly, you know, keep going. And, you know, use the products that you want to eat that remind you of things you might have ate before, you know, like the tempeh burgers and stuff like that, and slowly, you know, use them, but get more to that 100% whole food plant-based as you can, and get more food as nature intended. So that's my tips. And so yeah, so as I mentioned, at Plant-Based Life we have a nutritionist and food coaches as well, and Sydney Movement Studio, we do all our exercise there and Pilates and functional movement. So if anybody's got any questions on any of that, or if you'd like to have a chat with me, please let me know. Actually, if you've got any questions now, you can fire them up to me now if you want. So, no specific questions? Yep. Good question. Yeah, I should have explained that. Yeah, so look, it was a two-edged thing. I'd already started looking at it from a health perspective because I had irritable bowel syndrome for a long time, and anyone who's had irritable bowel syndrome will know it's not the most pleasant thing to deal with. And I did research, you know, about, you know, the gut and basically how eating a plant-based diet can relieve the symptoms. So that was my first step into it, and then I also I met some friends in the music industry who were vegan, and they were touring here in Australia, and they've been vegan married for about 10 years. And I just said to them, you know, what made you go vegan? And I was already kind of thinking about it because I didn't know much about it at that time, but I'd been reading about some of the health benefits, but I hadn't made any decision or anything. But then they said to me, look, it was that they explained, you know, what goes on in factory farming, because I didn't know about it back then. I wasn't open to it, you know. They explained a lot of the, you know, what goes on with animals and everything else, and they pointed me towards some videos, and I watched them, and that coupled with what I could see with the health benefits pretty much sealed the deal for me. I looked at that and I thought, well, I can't support that, you know. So look, I honestly believe, you know, that there's lots of different reasons why people become vegan or plant-based, right? You know, some people do it because they were led down the ethical route first. Some people do it for sustainability first. Some people do it for health reasons first. The way I look at it right now is no matter what led you there, as far as I can see, it's the best decision for your health, the planet, the animals, you know. And the one thing I will say though, adding to that, at Plant-Based Life and the way we work, we don't judge anyone though, like everyone's on their own unique journey, right? So, you know, if you're not eating 100% whole food plant-based, well, we don't have any judgment. I ate those products for 45 years of my life, right? I still believe that this is the best way to eat, and we want to help you get there, but we're not going to judge you or say to someone, you know, like at the end of the day, who are we to do that? You know what I mean? We're all human, right? We're all learning. Yeah, I'm still learning, we're all learning. We'll be learning till the day we go, you know? But that's what led me, anyway. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Good question. Thank you. Anybody else? No. Okay, no worries. Well, if you'd like to come and have a chat with me about anything, please do, and have a great day at the markets, and I'll see you again soon. All right, thank you.
Thanks, John. And John runs Pilates at the markets most months as well.
Yeah, 12:30 each market, just here. I run a Pilates class. You're all welcome to sign up. If you want to sign up for that class, you just email info@sydneymovementstudio.com.au, and that's a studio that we've got in Bondi Junction where we do Pilates, functional movement, and we also do the food coaching and nutrition there as well. So But yeah, look, if you want to come to Pilates here for a free Pilates class, every vegan market 12:30, email us. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, folks. And stick around in about 10 minutes. We've got Gemma from No Meat May to have a chat with us as well.